So what is outdoor EMV? Come October 2020, MasterCard and Visa have basically issued a mandate. This is not a law, this is a mandate of a liability shift, which basically states that all fuel pumps in the outdoor forecourt need to be EMV compliant. EMV chip compliant, basically what we're talking about here is a credit card transaction where you are dipping the card into the machine as opposed to swiping it. The essential problem here is that the mag stripe has become far too easy for fraudsters to basically replicate. And so it's much harder to actually replicate a chip. So the requirement now from MasterCard and Visa to eliminate fraud at the fuel pump is to require that the fuel pumps now be able to accept an EMV chip or PIN transaction. Now what this means for C-store operators is a very significant cost investment. A typical pump can run $10,000 or $15,000. An installation activity could also run another $10,000, $15,000. So for many C-store operators, depending on how many pumps they have and their current situation in their C-stores, they could be looking at easily $100,000, $200,000 or more in terms of a capital investment to basically replace all of their pumps. Now there are some alternatives such as upgrade kits, but for many C-store operators, their pumps are simply too old. If you can, an upgrade kit might run $5,000 or $10,000 as opposed to for each pump, as opposed to replacing an entire pump for $20,000, $30,000. So then the ramification here is that if a C-store operator chooses not to do the EMV upgrade, they are basically going to end up accepting the liability then for all the fraud that could have been prevented at these pumps. And so the challenge here now, and what we're seeing kind of in the industry today, is that over the past 5 years or so, many of the larger brands have actually, C-store brands have actually very quietly begun preparing for this. They've been making the appropriate investments in upgrading their pumps to hardware that is EMV capable. A lot of the software is not currently available, but there's quite a bit of hardware that's available, and so the hardware has already been upgraded. And then once the software is enabled, it's a remote push of upgrading the pumps, and they can convert their pumps to an EMV capable pump. However, there is a very significant part of the market that has not made this upgrade. A lot of the independents, a lot of the single store owners, a lot of them, while have been encouraged, informed, educated, have chosen not to make the investment. A, because they can't afford it. B, because they're waiting for help, incentive plans, or programs from the major oils. But the challenge here that we're looking at is that such a significant portion of the C-store convenience or the retail petroleum industry has not made this upgrade, that we are running up into a very meaningful problem. When October 2020 comes and goes, we're going to have a significant portion of the industry which has made EMV hardware upgrades and is ready to do the complete software upgrades and ready to go with an EMV compliant transactions. And these again will tend to be the larger brands and the larger companies or larger multi-branded companies. Then we're going to have a very significant portion of the network of the community, the independent stores, you know, to the tune of 100,000 or more potentially, that have not made these kind of upgrades. And this is where the critical pain point is going to happen. If these stores together suddenly start to realize, come October 2020, suddenly start realizing that they're getting fraud bills for $1,000 a month, for $5,000 a month, for $10,000 a month, and then suddenly together start to realize, hey, I want to do this outdoor EMV upgrade, they're going to overwhelm the existing capacity of the industry to be able to do these things. And even though they want to do it, they may have to wait another 6 months or 12 months before the appropriate technical resources can come by and actually do this upgrade. So this is a serious problem here. We have a very significant portion of the retail petroleum market who has not completed the necessary hardware upgrades, who is waiting for help from a major oil, waiting for help from perhaps a marketer or a distributor, but they're waiting for help and they're not getting it. And because they're not getting it, they are going to risk being liable for the fraud. So when you think about the entire population of the C-store industry, there's going to be a meaningful portion that has completed the EMV upgrade. Well, what does that mean? That means that for the fraudsters, this portion of the network is off limits, or it's just much more difficult. It won't be a simple matter of replicating a mag stripe on a credit card to commit fraud. So all of this, all the fraud activity that would have taken place over here is now going to suddenly shift over here. So the fraud that the smaller independents have today will now get augmented by all the fraud that couldn't happen over here because they've suddenly become EMV compliant. And so what we're seeing now is a pretty serious situation where the independents in this arena are going to be caught unprepared for the fraud that's coming their way. It's not going to be business as usual. It's going to be more fraud than currently expected. Those without the EMV upgrade are going to be caught in a pinch. And even when they want to make the upgrade, they're going to have to wait their turn as the rest of the industry as the rest of what remains of the industry overwhelms all the installers and the technicians that are required to do this upgrade. So the urgency here now is for the independents and for the smaller dealers, single site owners, C-store owners to learn and to study this problem quickly and to take action, to do the EMV upgrade now. Don't wait. Don't wait till October 2020. Don't wait for the fraud bills to start coming your way. Take action now so that when the liability shift takes place, you won't be hit with these unexpected fraudulent charges.